February 24th, 2009, Madison County, Alabama. I was staying at the Marriott Hotel, 6th floor in Huntsville, Alabama, at the Space and Rocket Center. At 5:40 a.m. on February 24th, 2009, I went on the balcony to drink my coffee, as the room was too stuffy and hot. I was out there just thinking and staring off at the woods when something caught my eye. After refocusing on it, I realized there were legs, then arms, then I could clearly make out his face. The creature stood 6 to 7 feet tall and was staring directly back at me. It seemed to have fine hairs all over, gray-colored hair that got more black as the hair got closer to the skin. The tips of the hair were much lighter. The face, lips, eyelids, etc., were more of a very dark brown. It stood very erect, was very muscular, and did not seem to have the ape-like protruding mouth and nose, but more flat-faced human-like. After 30 seconds, he started rocking back and forth. I then realized this was moving and could in no way be mistaken for a deer or bear or anything else. This was a fully erect, ape-like animal that seemed to want me to see him. He was rocking back and forth from side to side. After the initial 30 seconds, he rocked for about 10 to 12 seconds, then stood and stared at me. I was on the 6th floor, about 120 yards away, in decent lighting due to the hotel lights and street light behind the loading area of the hotel. He then would stare back, then he would remain face forward with feet only about 2 feet apart, would lean over his left with his right arm, and would start pulling bark off a very large pine tree. It looked as if someone were in a sawing position. Then he would stand up, stare at me, then rock and pull bark. This was done in that order 3 times over a 5 to 6 minute period. After 5 minutes of re-verifying what I was looking at, I felt this creature was docile and smooth moving. I decided I would try and get a closer look. As I opened the sliding glass door, he stared and I stared back. I ran out of the hotel room and there was security in our hall laying the morning news at the hotel room doors. I asked him to come with me and asked for backup since I had no gun. We ran around the corner outside. As we were running, I finally got the nerve to tell them what I saw. We got to the reference points I had chosen, and there were a lot of fresh bark removed from the large pine tree. I tried to pull bark from it to no avail. It was too hard. I'm 6'4" and 300 pounds. I went back after 7 a.m. in the light, and I did notice what looked like scat. It took the form of explosive diarrhea and looked like 100 birds had pooped in a small area, like in a shotgun pattern, heavy in the middle and lighter to the outside perimeter. I put a large handful in a Marriott laundry plastic bag. It looks like feces and digested berries and seeds. It was dry, although it had rained the night before. One of the Marriott employees saw 2 large footprints, more like deep indentations in the pine straw. I took off my shoe and placed my foot in it, and there was about an inch area all the way around my foot in order to feel the indentation. Something very heavy had to make these indentations. I tried, and I'm 300 pounds, and could not. I am 100% positive of the above description. I watched this clearly for 5 to 6 minutes. I did hear the bark coming off the tree when the creature was pulling it off. There was a small 12 to 16-inch pine stick with no bark on it. He could have been using it to pull the bark off the tree. The bark on the ground was very fresh and had holes in the back of it, as if beetles or grubs were living in the bark. There were 2 other Marriott employees that saw the bark missing and large foot indentations. This is the floor from which the witness watched the creature. And this is the area the creature could have been, possibly ripping the tree bark off of one of those trees. The shift manager at the hotel verified the bark missing on the tree and the impressions, and also stated that surrounding the hotel grounds are nature trails and a large deer population. He also said that it was only 100 feet from the back of the hotel to the area of the sighting,